Not to be, you know, not to make it entirely about me, but... Alright, fuck off, head number one. Now comes bursting, boiling organ head. Oh, I'm gonna get you with Batman. Is it better to burst them, or...? No, I don't want to be rude to you. He said hey and I said yo. I don't want to be rude to him. But we'll get him on the line very soon. Let's see how this goes. I have a feeling that I have no idea what to do during the second phase of this. I have a feeling that I have no clue what to do during the second phase, so we'll see. There we go. Let's see. Let's get the hell out of this pit. Let's be the old man. Look, pro tip. And but also lazy yo, isn't that the eternal struggle right there? Is that not the eternal struggle? I'm gonna slap you right in your stupid face. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna burn you with my monkey powers. Oh god. Don't die, monk. Oh, that's the last of my monk weapon. Oh, what? I don't know what that was. I have found it so far on the Switch very easy to accidentally hit the shoulders. At least on this the like block controller, the dual joy. Oh boy, the dual joy. Oh boy. Oh god. Oh, but. Oh no! Yo! What? Hey, Bob! What's up? Can I call you up? Can I call you on the phone? Can I call you on the telephone? What's up, Wob? Everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is about to be episode 4 of I Can't Believe People Still Talk to Each Other. This is episode 4 out of 6. Thank you for the GG. Yo, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to I Can't Believe People Still Talk to Each Other. Got a bunch of cool stuff coming up. Over the next couple of weeks. Exclamation point schedule. Exclamation point Discord. Stay in touch. Thank you for tuning in. Cool. It's awesome to see everyone. And we're gonna have a fun night. Fun hour. We've got about an hour of stuff that we're gonna talk about with Bob. Look at our home. Look at the creepy little forest we live in. This was a cool time of year. It was like October. Is it looping? Oh no, there's a little bit more. Yeah, there's my little greenhouse. I painted it green so that you can see it from fucking satellite. Oh, now he's calling me. Okay. Hi. How you doing? Turned. Are you listening to the stream? Yeah, you should mute the stream. It's like when you call the radio station. Right, exactly. You don't know that it's like a, you still have not muted it. You know that it's, but you know that it is a common knowledge that when you call the radio, you don't listen. No, or is that not? But I mean, it's like, You know when the guy says, but you know there's an invention called television, and on the television they show shows? Can I call you on Discord? I can't believe I bought the wrong Bloodstained. I can't, but how? I bought it on a physical cartridge. I don't know if I even thought. Good job. I think I thought that this only came out on physical cartridges, like in like a limited edition extent. Yo, thank you, Koa. I'm not upset. I want to play this game. Yo, thank you so much. I would rather be playing. I woke up like Christmas. I hope so too. I woke up going, cool, good job. Oh man, I have a reason to get out of bed today. I get to play Ritual of the Night. As soon as I get ready, I did my chores. I fed the cats. I scooped the cat poop. I was like, Ritual of the Night. I get to play Ritual. I played the demo. I played a little bit at my friend's house. I get to actually play. We've been talking about this for like 5 years. Ritual, this has been going on for so long. This is like, I can't believe how long I've been talking about Ritual of the Night. Like games have come out and like gone away really and like left the like it really thinks you're a robot. It thinks Bob is a robot. All of this shit has happened. I've grown as a person. We've all grown as people. I started this stream. This is older than like everything I'm working on now. Bloodstained, like Ritual of the Night is something I've been talking about the entire time I've been streaming. I'm gonna get to play it today. I'm making my coffee, you know, I'm like chopping up strawberries for my oat meal. I'm doing my pleasant, you know, forest morning, like the birds are fucking tweeting. The sun is like rising through the mist over a blanket of clouds, and I'm like, man, it Discord that's the problem? The morning sun has vanquished the terrible night, and I'm gonna play Bloodstained Ritual of the Night this morning. Like I didn't get to get anyone to come out, and like I've got a Switch. I get to play Ritual of the Night. I'm like so fucking excited. Like more than Christmas, double Christmas, Halloween on Christmas. I get to play Ritual of the Night today. Thank you for being here, everyone. To trick you? We are playing Bloodstained Curse of the Mood. All right, give me one second. Wow, I can't, like, how? I'm about to call Bob, ladies and gentlemen. This is pretty on brand, right? This is a real Cuyahoga predicament. This is a real Cuyahoga's dilemma. I don't know if I should get like twice as high right now. I'm thinking about it. I'm calling him. He's not picking up. You didn't hear what he was saying, but he wanted me to call him. Welcome to I Can't Believe People Still Talk to Each Other. This is the summertime episode. We're gonna talk about all the scariest shit. Oh shit, he's here.
Hey.
Hi, Bob.
What's up?
How you doing?
Hey. Pretty
Are
good.
you doing good? Oh man, you're here.
Superman
Cool.
does good.
What does good?
Superman does good.
Oh, you do well?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you tall too. No, I don't need. No, I'm not. I made the last guy that was on the show tall and sexy, and he liked it.
You've like compressed me a little bit, so I look taller and thinner. I don't mind that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Emmy Boive, my French dungeon master. When I Friday the 13th, but this may or may not have anything particularly to do with Friday the 13th. I've totally lost my track for a variety of reasons. But why do you think that Freddy Krueger should have appeared in the It movie?
Good question. Pennywise likes to take the form of your biggest fear, whatever you're most afraid of. And for a lot of the book, it's a bunch of kids, 11-year-old kids in the 50s, and what are they afraid of? But monster movies, things from classic horror movies and creature features and stuff. So Ben is attacked by the mummy. Richie is attacked by the teenage werewolf. Some of the bullies are attacked and even killed by Frankenstein, which for a bunch of kids in the 50s, if they're imagining Frankenstein, I imagine they're imagining the movie Frankenstein. Um, Bill in 1985, when he goes back to Derry, he runs into some kid that tells him that Jaws, not just a shark, but Jaws was in the canal lunging at him.
Right. Yeah.
Back in the 50s, another small kid, not one of the Losers Club, but some kid that gets murdered is murdered by the creature from the Black Lagoon. It comes out of the canal and it comes for him in a scene that's really awesome. And there's a scene where I think it's Richie. He thinks of the crawling eye, that old creature feature from the
Yeah,
50s.
that was also, they were all movie monsters that they were afraid of.
So there's a lot of references to movie things in the book, and some of that transferred over to the miniseries from 1990. Also, in the new movie, I need to see it again. Unless I'm mistaken, I seem to remember that each kid from the Losers Club had a scene with Pennywise where they're alone, and Pennywise does something to scare the ever-living shit out of them.
Okay.
And they like barely escape. So that we all
Yeah.
come together. What do we do about this clown? They each have a story to tell. And from what I remember, the only kid that didn't have a scene like that was Richie, which in the book, he's chased away by the teenage werewolf.
Yeah.
In the miniseries, he's chased away by the teenage werewolf. In the miniseries, they go to the movies, they see the teenage werewolf, they knock their sodas or drinks or whatever over the balcony, and it lands on Henry and his friends.
Yeah.
And they're, we're gonna get you, kids.
It was Dr. Evil's kid.
Yeah. Yeah. It was what's his name, and
yeah. It was Robot Chicken.
Yeah. Seth Green.
Yeah.
It was Seth Green. And
yeah.
I think that to update that, Freddy would have worked perfectly. The studio that owns, the studio that made it owns the rights to Freddy and could have done it.
Freddy is totally not hot right now. He was in play a video game in a movie. Player One, Ready Player One.
He was in Ready Player One. He was also.
He could totally have made a cameo.
Robert Englund was actually on the Goldbergs, their Halloween episode.
Oh yeah.
He's been talking about making another movie. That he's open to making one last movie. Who knows what it would be? Probably bad, but let's wish them luck. But they could have had a scene where they used Robert Englund and used the Pennywise actor, and had the thing morph. I mean, the way Pennywise is, like, you look at it 1 second and it's a werewolf, and then you look at another second and it's a werewolf with clown buttons going down, and like it starts to go back to that Pennywise thing. So a scene with Freddy would have worked perfectly. Richie could have used a scene like that, and I think it's differently it's done differently in the book, but in the movie, in the 1990 movie, when Seth Green's Richie character runs into this werewolf, it is where it's in the boiler room basement of the school. He
not
has
the movie theater.
No,
I remember something. I remember him being in the basement in the school.
Go see the movie, and he knocks over his popcorn soda, whatever, onto Henry, and they're chased. But then later on in the movie, they're in the school cafeteria, and he has another confrontation with Henry where he knocks lunch tray or something into him. He bullies him, and he ends up getting food everywhere. And so the principal is like, you think he tells him to go get a mop or something. So obviously this kid has to go down to the basement and look for the janitor or something like that. And so he ends up going down into the school's boiler room, and he runs into the teenage werewolf. That scene could have easily have been Freddy Krueger, and it would have made perfect sense. So when I watch it, I don't know, I feel like it's missing. Because in the 50s, these kids were all afraid of the classic 50s monsters, and what were kids afraid of in the 80s but slashers, Michael, Jason, Freddy.
That would have been awesome. I guess that's great. That really would have been. That's
a missed opportunity. It didn't have to be a big thing.
Yeah.
It could have just been a moment.
They totally put him in that other movie.
Sort of morphed into the other actor, and it could have been great, but they didn't do it. I think that's a bummer.
Friday the 13th. You want to know the story of the first movie?
Yeah.
All right. It opens up at a summer camp in 1958, and a bunch of campers are sitting around a campfire in a cabin, singing campfire songs with a guitar. And then you see a boy and a girl get up and walk away. Like one of them signals to the other, like, "Hey, let's go totally fucking have sex." Like someone's walking into where they are and walks up, and these two kids who are like half undressed see this person, and they go, "Oh, we weren't doing nothing." All of a sudden, one of the kids, the boy, gets stabbed in the stomach, and he falls to the side dead. And the girl starts screaming, and you're seeing through the killer's eyes as the killer goes up to her and is gonna like stab her. The words Friday the 13th come up, and they break the glass, and that music comes in. The music is so fucking good. It's 1980, and some girl who looks like she's all ready to go camping is walking through the streets of some small town. They tried to open in '58. Some kid drowned, and then in the year later, 2 kids were murdered.
Fuck.
And then he mentions that they tried to open it another year, and there were fires. And
Yeah.
They tried to open it another year, and the water went bad. And she's running through the woods, and she's running from this person whose eyes you're looking through, and she's terrified. And then she thinks that everything's safe, and she like turns around, and she gets her fucking throat slit.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile at camp, there's all these people getting, all these teenagers getting the camp ready, and they're like, "Oh, where's Annie? She was supposed to cook." She's talking to Kevin Bacon earlier in the movie, and she says that, I forget how it comes up, but she talks about this dream, this reoccurring dream she has where like it starts raining, but then the rain turns to blood. And she's really scared, and I think there's some other part of it that I'm forgetting, and she's like, "I call it my shower dream." And then like 2 hours later, she gets a fucking axe to the face in the shower, and he's sitting there smoking a joint waiting for her to come back. And he like all of a sudden some blood starts dripping down, and he's like, "What the hell is this?" And right as he's about to figure it out, an arm comes out and grabs his head, and an arrow gets shoved through his neck. It's so great.
I remember the kid's house that I saw that in as a child. I remember the basement and being like, "Oh God, look at that arrow through Kevin Bacon's throat."
The kids at this point, they know the place is cursed. They know that some bad stuff happened there. They know that a kid drowned there.
Right.
And they know that some kids got killed there. But the thing with like young Jason yelling or, calling for help.
Yeah.
It wasn't Jason, it was the mother. But it draws her outside thinking there's a little kid that needs help.
Yeah.
And she gets drawn into the archery field. And then all of a sudden the lights come up. And what could have been one of the coolest deaths in the movie, they cut, and it happens off screen, and it's too bad. Yeah, and he goes outside to do something and doesn't come back. And when she goes outside, she finds him like stuck to the house with like 3 arrows, and he's dead.
She likes shooting arrows.
All of a sudden, a woman shows up, and she's like, "You have to help me." And she's like, "Why? What's wrong?" And she's like, "My friends, they're dead. Someone killed them." And so she goes inside to look at the bodies, and she comes out, and she's starts giving this whole speech on how like, I was the cook here, and my son Jason drowned, and he should have been watched. And that's when she goes into all that. And so then there's a big chase and a big fight, and Annie ends up cutting her head off. And then she like gets in a canoe and goes out into the lake and falls asleep. She wakes up the next morning, and she sees a police officer at the side of the lake, like waving his arms at her. And as she's waking up and she thinks everything's finally better, all of a sudden, Jason jumps out of the lake. Well, she wakes up in a hospital, and she tells the police officer, she's like, "What about the little boy?" And he says, "We didn't find a little boy." And she goes, "Then he's still out there. That's not the end of the first
Is that
film?
the first one? Oh man, it maybe.
And then
Maybe.
Yeah, no, it is.
Then he's
the
still out there.
It is, because the second movie opens in Waterbury, Connecticut.
I got a question for you.
Yep.
Why is it not moi boive instead of me boive?
ME is my initial.
Yeah. But it would be cute in French if it was moi boive.
I guess.
Okay.
Dave, do I really need to be cuter and Frencher than I already am?
Who was all right in Friday the 13th? Who is the series? Let's do this.
First four
I want to
movies.
talk about the first four movies.
I think you broke up there for a second. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
In the first four movies,
Yes.
in the first movie, Jason is a dead kid, and the guy that wrote the script for the first movie has said, for the record, in my movie, Jason is dead.
But then they changed someone changed their minds.
Well, the studio wanted a sequel, and they had just cut the killer pretty blatantly. I mean,
imagine if they brought Pamela back to life for the rest of the sequels.
That would have been cool.
That would have been dope. My remake. It's gonna be Pamela in a hockey mask. Huge,
wonderful in that movie.
Huge mom monster.
Performance. I think her performance as Pamela Voorhees was terrific, and any chance to see her play a killer again would be great. Out of all the killers and all the slasher movies from that year, she gets overlooked because she's not Jason, but her performance was the best.
There are two movies where he's not. Where there are two movies without Jason. Let's say it's a dream. There are two. It's a dream both times.
Movies where Jason's not the killer.
Okay, but I mean, if it is a dream, there are two movies without Jason.
Not a dream.
In the first movie, when she sees him
first. Oh, when she sees him at the end.
Yeah.
Is there an official answer on?
I don't know.
Is it a dream that she has, or I don't think that they even.
In the
I
end
think it's being decided in court right now. Actually,
yeah,
honestly.
it's still up in the air. So Pamela Voorhees kills a bunch of people, and then a girl has a dream about Jason. Oh my God, Wav! What if the entire series is her dream that she's having at the police station at the end of the first movie? I think I just cracked the code on Friday the 13th. Because in the second movie, they say, no, Jason did not come out of the lake and get you. You had a dream. Right? Is that how it happens?
It doesn't really answer it. Either the whole thing was a dream, or a kid really did come out and capsize it, and then the cop found her floating. But
the real answer is that no one paid attention from movie to movie about as they were writing the scripts, right?
They didn't care about these things back then, obviously.
The thing I didn't know is that for the first four movies, he's living.
Yeah.
And then after that, he becomes an undead monster who turns into a caterpillar.
Yeah, that's the main difference between the first four and the next four. In the first four, he's this mongoloid guy who lives in the wood, has this deformed face and this strange.
He wears a sack. He wears a burlap sack on his face.
That's my favorite Jason. My favorite Jason is One-Eyed Sack Jason.
He's in the video game, One-Eyed Sack Jason. So is Turquoise Jason from the NES.
Yeah. So he was a real person who lived in the woods, who saw his mother beheaded that night and went crazy and started to kill anyone who came into his woods after that. And so, and anyone that's trying to reopen the camp, especially. So in the second movie, when they're again trying to reopen the camp, he's like, no, and he kills them. And then in the third one, which is supposed to be a continuation of the same weekend, he kills a bunch of kids that are at a lake house for the weekend. And then he does that again in the fourth movie, which is again supposed to be like the same weekend.
What's he doing in the third movie?
He kills a bunch of people.
1, 2, and 4 all happen on the same weekend?
2, 3, and 4 all happen within the space of like several days.
Oh my God, I should watch them all over the space of several days.
Yeah. I remember that movie very.
Yeah, so then in the fourth movie, he finally fucks up. Jason.
Well, and he comes across his match, who is, of course, Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman with his hair shaved to look like Jason.
Yeah. So, okay. So parts 2, 3, and 4 all pick up right after the next one, and it's Jason just like moving on to another group of people around the lake. He starts killing supposedly because it's been several years now, and they're trying to reopen the camp again. But when he finishes killing everyone, he just moves on to a lake house and kills a bunch of kids, which is part 3. And then he is supposedly killed at the end of the third. And he gets his hockey mask. And he also gets an axe right in his dome from the survivor girl, who is pretty good. Her name's
Whoa, in the third movie?
in the third movie.
Okay.
And that's where he gets the axe mark. What side is it on?
Oh, on his mask.
Yeah,
But that doesn't kill him.
Third movie, it doesn't kill him. Well, it kills him for the end
for
of
that movie. But then the next day he's shitting on Corey Feldman.
Well, he comes across another house of teenagers who are also there for the weekend because
anytime and every time I have guys.
News. And there's a killer on the loose, but these kids don't care what's up. They don't watch the news.
They never do.
And
they
these
still
kids
don't.
are vacationing at a lake house that's right across the street from this log cabin where a family lives. A mother with her teenage daughter and young son, Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
And Jason kills all the teenagers and he kills the mother.
All right, boy.
Which really pisses off Corey Feldman. Really, I mean, Corey Feldman does not like.
Both of them got their mothers killed and got really pissed off. But Corey Feldman has my sympathy, obviously.
So Corey Feldman,
it is terrible what happened to Jason.
He's locked in the bathroom and Jason's about to kill his sister, and he looks at this artist rendition of Jason as a kid.
It's like I Heart Huckabees. He realizes that he and Jason are the same and that they've been each other throughout eternity, and he has to appeal to the empathy, right, in Jason.
It's exactly like that. These movies are actually very deep, and they went over everyone's head.
This one sounds like it did.
Well, he's locked in the bathroom, and he, for some reason, has like a newspaper clipping of an artist rendition of Jason, the Jason that never existed, the Jason that jumped out of the lake.
Yeah.
And so he like uses makeup and a razor to shave his head, and he uses makeup to like make himself look like Jason. And he comes out and he confronts Jason, and he confuses Jason long enough for them to get the upper hand, and he ends up giving him a machete to the dome. And then he just picks up the machete and he just keeps whacking him. He, unlike most people in these movies, where like, oh, the killer's down, I better drop the knife and run. He picks up the knife and he just keeps hacking away at Jason until you know that his head must be pulp. So the movie ends where the sister is embracing him, and then he gives the camera this crazy look, sort of like Michael Jackson at the end of the Thriller video, to imply that
now he's going to be Jason. He got the caterpillar. But that's not what happens.
Same thing they did the same thing at the end of Halloween 4.
They do it in all kinds of shit.
I love 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are my favorite Friday the 13th movies. They're the ones that feel like horror movies. They're the ones that feel like late 70s, early 80s summer camp and still look like you're at a summer camp during that era. They start to look way more modern after this, and they start to be more tongue-in-cheek. And after this movie, they start to become very aware of themselves and aware of the cliches that people talk about them. And so going forward, the movies are just like, they have a list of cliches they have to meet, and they check them off as they go, and the audience cheers. And one of the biggest differences after the 4th film or after the 5th film, by the 6th film.
So
is,
I would like to move up.
Hang on. In the first 4 films.
All right.
Listen, in the first 4 films, there's still movies where the audience is cheering for, or at least expected to cheer for, the victims. You know, don't go in there. The classic that the audience is yelling when the stupid girl goes into the dark room. By the 6th movie, it's the audience cheering for Jason and living vicariously through Jason, not the victims, and saying things like, go in there, get her, kill the bitch, because everyone knows what's happening. Everyone knows that there's a set of cliches they have. And like everyone started cheering for Jason at that point with Jason Lives. So that's one of the reasons that
Like
they
have
just
guy. I like a lot of people.
feel. Yeah.
Same thing with Friday or Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, which, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street in the first film, if they had made him a child killer, I don't think anyone would have really cared. But then in the remake, they made him a child killer, and people were like, "Not my Freddy Krueger, like he's your weird uncle or something like that." Like, oh, I mean, when they made him a
They
kid
made him a
toucher.
child molester.
Freddy's not your friend. He's a gross guy. I mean, he cuts out little girls' eyeballs
When?
in those movies. I like there's a scene in that movie where some little girl has no
I'm
eyes.
positive. Wait, oh, the new one? The one where people
No,
were sad that he was a
in one
bad
of the
guy? Okay.
But people were definitely like bummed out that they made him such a bad guy, that they made him a kid toucher. Like that's going too far. Freddy's kind of. I've seen people say things like Freddy's sacred. He's a slasher.
That's a funny
I mean,
thing to say.
right?
All right, here we go. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.
There's a scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Okay, yeah.
That scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Like I would always have to leave the room.
Are you about to, and is it not the scene?
The clown doctor scene.
Oh, that's the scene that scared
The
you?
clown doctor scene.
Yeah.
But
There's weird
when
energy
I was like
in
5
all the
years
dream
old.
sequences. There's very strange, yeah, because it came out of nowhere too.
Yeah. And then when the doctor like pulls his mask off and he's got that face.
Yeah.
I had nightmares about that as a kid.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. Okay, how old were you? Do you think?
I was 7.
That's a little young for Jurassic Park. There's
I got
entrails in that
scared.
movie.
Yeah, I got scared.
How do you feel about Jurassic Park to this day?
I don't want to watch it again.
Really?
I acknowledge that it's a good movie, and you know, and I see clips, but like, unfortunately, the way that I felt, even though it's not scary now,
Right. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
is still there.
All right. No, I feel you. I feel you full on about that.
Yeah, what was that show? Was it wasn't. Oh fuck! Today's special.
Okay, I know today's special. The mannequins came to life.
Yeah, that show kind of fucked me up. I don't really remember why exactly, but I didn't like looking at any of the characters in that television show.
Yeah. I feel like there may have been some weird, like maybe kind of like animatronic, like mouse creature.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Carrie.
Oh wow, you're the second Carrie.
I was really, really upset when the teacher died. The teacher that was nice to her.
Yeah. The one teacher that was nice to her, of course. Yeah.
And then she like got that thing that like came down and got her in the stomach or
Yeah.
whatever. That,
Oh my God.
Fell for a rafter or something that came down and crushed her stomach.
Oh, so
And
terrible too.
I was so upset because I was like, that's the person that was nice to her.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Dude.
but that's Stephen King, right? It doesn't
Yeah, that's
fucking
right,
matter.
dude. The person who's
Right?
nice to her always fucking gets destroyed.
It's
a good one.
Was there a movie that you watched as a child that you were definitely too young to be watching?
Yes, The Shining.
Yeah, me too. Yo,
Carrie, I also like The Shining and Carrie.
I remember
Probably.
watching The Shining, and I felt like I knew why my parents didn't want me watching certain movies.
Yes.
After watching The Shining, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. Robin and I first saw it in like a resort type winter hotel in Vermont in a room by ourselves. It was very upsetting, but we really liked it.
God, that's, and you know, in Vermont, fuck.
Yeah, in the winter,
Holy
in the winter,
shit.
trapped. Feeling trapped.
The Dark Crystal.
Oh man, yo, the dark crystal to this day fucks me up.
That shit scared the hell out of me.
Oh,
And it still does. I can't watch it.
I have described that movie as being similar to having a window to hell in your living room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my, oh, that's a great answer. I feel like there's stuff on that was on Nickelodeon that like I've forgotten about that like, well, I think you might recall me kind of freaking out when I rediscovered
Yo,
you can't
I
do
just
that on
remembered.
television.
You know what actually fucked me up?
What?
I can't. Maybe it was like 3-2-1 special or
3-2-1 contact.
3-2-1 contact. Was that the one that had Math Man?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, it might have had Math Man. Yeah, maybe.
Math Man. Numbers that are 6 or whatever. And then there was this weird little fucking angry tornado that would chew up the football head guy.
Oh, okay. I sort of remember
football helmet. Football helmet. Math Man.
You are describing something that is right on the tip of my brain.
But yeah, that little
like
tornado,
a ghostly
that
skull.
little motherfucker fucked me up.
Yeah. Oh man, I kind of know who you're talking about. Look, there's a dude doing some violence over there.
What a dumbass.
I thought
Large Marge kind of too, but I got over that really quickly. It was like a big shock. And
that might be my first memory.
You know, I think it's also Large Marge was something where like I knew it was like once I knew it was coming, when it was coming, I can kind of like close my eyes and then it's gone.
I remember seeing it at my grandparents' house, and when I saw Large Marge do the thing, I really like thought. I don't think I've been okay since. I remember like my first thought was like that. My first thought when I saw it happen to her was that nothing is okay. Nothing will ever be okay. That's how bad, dude. It fucking like that shit blew my mind. I was not expecting her to do any of that.
That when I was very young, like 4 or 5, I slept over my aunt and uncle's house one night. For some reason, I had to be over there. Like I slept over. They let me watch Terminator. And my dad was mad that they let me watch Terminator.
That movie has got a serious sex scene in it.
Yeah, that movie's got
that movie
titties.
like that movie's got fucking in it. Like that's why I wasn't allowed to watch that one, so I watched Deliverance instead. That's how.
Oh God.
That's how I learned about it.
Too young?
Oh, I went over at the age of 9 or 10. I went over to my grandfather's house, and I stole 2 video cassettes from his library: The Shining and Deliverance.
Jesus Christ! What made you reach for those?
I knew that The Shining was a horror movie. I knew that it was a movie about ghosts.
You were how old?
9 or 10.
Okay.
I knew Stephen King was a scary
you knew
guy.
it by reputation.
I had probably seen Pet Sematary, right? And Deliverance, I don't know, it was sitting right next to it or something. Yeah.
Weird.
Is it a pet?
No, it's a bottle of ink that makes you naked. It's like invisible ink.
I have a whole body shrinker.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Morose's famous polish. Let me find my selfie camera. Dude, the never-ending story also belongs in this conversation, but the last unicorn.
A couple of things kind of scared me out of that too, especially when I got like really stoned one time and I watched it and I was like, turn it off. I can't watch this. It's making me think too much.
Yeah. Oh. I really like what you just said. Yeah.
I watched it with a friend and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just like, I don't know, but you need to turn this off immediately.
Dude, stuff that you don't like how much it's making you think.
Yeah, it was really throwing me into like a down spiraling like deep dark thought process about like the nothing and how it's nothing and it's like it's just consuming everybody and it was scaring the shit out of me. I was just like, I'm done here.
Yo, okay. How let's see here. Let's get Boav unmuted. How are you doing, Boav? Did I confuse you?
Good. Yeah,
Okay.
I have been so confused.
What about what happened confused you the most?
uh, all of it.
Boav, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
You're welcome.
Uh,
Anytime.
Do you have any thought? I'm gonna say some titles, and I just want to know your most basic thoughts on those things.
Okay, go.
The Never-Ending Story,
Sad.
The Last Unicorn, The Dark Crystal.
God, he tried so hard. He put so much work into that movie, and I respect it, and I want to love it. But every time I watch it, it's just not good.
I agree with this man a lot. How about You Can't Do That on Television?
I loved that show as a kid.
Yeah.
For
It was
Barf.
made by, was it made by, Barth? Like, I honestly think, like, I think I had nightmares about Barth when I was a child. I'm pretty sure I did.
About eating his hamburger.
I think he wanted me to be in the hamburgers. What about, do you remember Today's Special from Nickelodeon?
Yeah,
Yeah? What did you think about that?
I loved that show as a kid. I
Yeah,
loved
that
it.
too.
There was where they got new sneakers, and they had a whole song about this. There was an episode where I came to visit them, and I remember being like 5 and thinking that was the coolest thing ever. That's about it.
Very, very first basic thoughts, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Awesome.
Great, I agree.
It's just
What was The Shining?
one of the best.
Carrie?
Really good. Brian De Palma. Can't go wrong.
What do you think about Jurassic Park?
Love it.
What do you think about showing any of those things to children?
Jurassic Park to any kid that's mature enough for it. The others, not so much.
Just Jurassic Park?
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, The Shining. I don't think any kid need to be watching The Shining.
Or Today's Special?
No, God. No, honestly, Today's Special to show kids that show today.
It's weird.
No, that's weird. You wouldn't do that. That would be so out of place. That show is so outdated that I don't know if the kid would really be able to process what it was he was watching, he or she.
Yeah, so it was good.
How do you feel about trains?
I like trains.
Me too, I like them a lot. Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street?
Honestly, I like Friday the 13th.
You like Friday the 13th? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna end up talking about Friday the 13th first.
I haven't seen it in such a long time. So.
Those are very strong, in my mind, 1980s New England movies.
And they're so good, and people are so scared of them. I laugh at movies like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like fucked in the head or something a little bit, but I'm just like, I just laugh at movies like that. But they're so fucking good.
They're so weird and so good, and it's like it's like it was a simpler time. It's like it was easier to just make a scary movie with a guy with a shadow. You know, like it was so, and it was so easy. Like it makes me. It's one of the ways to go like right back to being like a scared child, in a hot summer Saturday afternoon, like watching Friday the 13th on VHS. It's so simple and so pure.
Yep, so good. It was like me and like a couple of friends, and we were just hanging out, like same scenario basically, like, but I remember watching it, and for some reason I remember watching it like on their like we were all like sitting on their bed, but it was just like the mattress, like the box spring. It was weird. And then
Yeah,
like
sure.
because that's what we did back
Yeah.
in the day. Like, you know, we just hung out on box springs and mattresses without sheets. Like, what the fuck? That was like ingrained in my head as like a thing that we did. It was we were weird. We had nothing else to do.
No, like fucking sleepovers in New England, like growing up in the
Sleepovers.
80s and 90s, like
Yes.
oh my god, I'm trying to figure out how to like get how to bottle that aesthetic as an adult and as a content creator. That's a big part of my whole thing. That whatever that feeling is, that 1980s sleepover Friday the 13th Dungeons and Dragons feeling.
Yes.
Something
And
about that is
like,
what I'm looking for.
It has like a hot, summery like feeling to it.
Completely. We're gonna go. That was it. Thank you so much. Do you want to say anything about Dungeons and Dragons? Isn't it awesome?
It's great. It's the best.
Do you want to?
It's the best. And I had no idea until this year that 5th edition was out and that it was so awesome.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been like a couple weeks.
I know. We really got to dive back into it on Tuesday.
I know you have a lot to say about Friday the 13th, and we'll do this again, and we'll talk about the next 4. Do you have anything you want to add about the first 4 that's important? Look at all the movies that he's watched. They're all red and black because they're all horror movies.
Anything I want to say about the first 4?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of explained why the first 4 are my favorites. They have this old school like camp feel to
It's
them
hard
that
to
the
do
rest
it
of
online.
them don't. And they feel more like horror movies. After this, they start to feel more like creature features for a while.
Sure. Yeah, he's a big monster. He's just a big fucking monster. Yeah.
By the 5th movie, no one's expected to actually be afraid of him anymore. It's just the fun of watching him kill people. And when they realized that, they really started to capitalize on it, which is fine. The next 4 movies are still a lot of fun. I like the first 8 movies a lot, and the next 4 movies after that are the ones that I don't really personally care for. The New Line movies.
Sure.
The first 8 were made by Paramount, and by the 8th one, they got pretty ridiculous. The 8th one, Jason Takes Manhattan, and at the time, it was like, well, this is the craziest shit they can do. It's got to end. Oh no. Jason going to Manhattan seems like a quaint idea once you get to the end of like the New Line movies. They get weird. They get really weird. He goes to space. He jumps bodies. He fights Freddy.
This video is about Midori and Ridley, and then we'll talk a little bit about everything else before I go. So thank you one more time, everyone. It's almost, once again, the end of the show. Thank you for a fucking lovely show, guys. I can't believe people still talk to each other. Jeez.
I think it would be Donkey Kong 2.
Donkey Kong Country 2?
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. You know, I've never played any of those. I'm sorry if the audio was crazy. I've been fucking with it this whole time.
Yeah,
you know how I am. Someday.
Like, personally, when I was growing up,
Thanks for hanging out.
we had a SNES, and that was like all we played, like all the time.
All I played was Super Mario World. Similar.
Yeah, see, I played only a little bit of that, but yeah, definitely like our main games were Donkey Kong.
I'm gonna finish Donkey Kong Country, the first one. Some people say play the second one. Should I play? What game should I play?
I would say just play them all.
Okay.
I personally like the second one better, but like, if you like going in order, like maybe the first one might be better.
Awesome.
Plus, it kind of introduces you to the mechanics a little bit.
That makes
so
sense, right? You ride around on animals.
Yes, which is super fun.
There's a fish that is very annoying.
I like the fish.
You do?
I do.
I have a memory of what it's like getting lost in Super Metroid and the
ya.
elements of the game design in Super Metroid. When I watch other people play it blind, I have seen so many things that have been baked into the game
Yeah.
that I appreciate so much that I want to experience a game like that with as an adult.
Yeah, I talk a lot of
And-
shit about Super Metroid, but I really feel you. I got lost as a child in Super Metroid.
It also wouldn't be much of a conversation if I just said Undertale.
That's true.
I don't know if I've ever really played Super Metroid. Nor am I
That's-
interested. It looks
That's
awful.
amazing because that was going to be the next question. What have you played? What have you not played that people can't believe you've never played?
Super Metroid.
That's a good answer.
I feel like you've seen so much of the speed run and the like ridiculousness that you aren't giving it a chance to
really
experience what
explore.
right? Like the game,
Really play it
the
blind.
game isn't as hard as we make it look.
No, that's the thing about it. Is that the reason I complain about
Not
it being
nearly
hard
as hard.
is because we're trying to do it so stupidly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make it harder than it even has any right to be. It's an easy
The
game. and it's
game
a fun
designers
one.
probably
And
look at what we're
exploring it is a
doing. It's
joy.
like, why?
Yeah, it's great.
What about you, Ridley?
What-